straight into our first couple for today. The rules are simple. There'll be one topic they get to argue for and against, and after that, there's going to be a rebuttal. Each session lasts 3 minutes, and after that, the judges will give their verdict. There are three of them outside the studio paying very close attention. So today we start off with Eric Rejoice Chidera. Eric Rejoice, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, and we also have joining her Ezekiel-Nobughe Ezekiel. Sotoye, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, so can both of you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the rules?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're going to start. Now, the first topic this morning is parents should not be blamed for crimes committed by their children. Parents should not be blamed for the crimes committed by their children. You can follow us and watch us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. So once again, can both of you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, now we'll start with four candidates. That is Eric Rejoice Chidera. She's arguing for the motion. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Standing on the existing protocols, I am Eric Rejoice Chidera, and I am here to propose the motion which says parents should not be blamed for the crimes committed by their children. Firstly, it is an inarguable fact that parents hold much accountability in the course of raising their children, but blaming them for the crimes committed by their children is a means of shifting the blame which does not seek to address the problem. This makes it much easier for children to bespeak in misdemeanors as they know their parents will take the blame, not themselves. The betterment in crime by children does not always foreshow that parents fail to inculcate good morals into them. Some could have been well-groomed, but were attributable to peer pressure, choosing a different trajectory, and transgressing. Secondly, now let's look at it from this angle. Have you thought of how, most especially the poor masses, have you thought of how financial economic instability has fostered criminal activities by children who can no longer survive the hardship of the economy and experience limited access to basic needs such as education and even healthcare support that was supposed to be provided by the government? A 1% increase in economic instability leads to a 0.12% increase in crime rates. The same government diminishing people's source of income and livelihood, hence causing a poor standard of living for the society. Look at our exchange rate, where the increase of dollar to naira leads to a massive increase in the prices of goods and services. How then do they survive? Thirdly, parents are not the only stakeholders in a child's life, thus should not exclusively be the only ones to be reprehended or criticized for the crimes committed by their children. In a society full of miscellaneous kinds of people, and other circumstantial factors that all congregate to influence the child's character, morals, actions. Yes, they play the major roles in the child's life, but what about other influencers such as their peers, their teachers, and their respective religion? The media is another powerful influencer. The pervasiveness of the media makes it formidable for children to avoid those pugnacious demonstrations in television programs, movies, music, and so on. What children see and hear from their peers and the media is often reflected in their acts and will definitely have an effect over them. Moreover, their parents didn't aggravate or constrain them to commit this crime. Children have a mind of their own and will still presumably commit this crime even if their parents promulgate them about it. A child can be spoiled and choose for himself to become what the parents didn't inculcate into him. So it's also all revolved around the child's mind. If it is conjectural for a bad parent to raise a good child, then it's also conjectural for a good parent to raise a bad child. Just as James Lehman said, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't force him to drink, but you can make him thirsty. Just to be clear, here's what I mean. A parent can influence a child's life, but...
Well, that's your time. 3 minutes are up. Thank you very much. Points very well marshaled. And if you pay very attention like I try to do, you pick up some interesting words. Now, the word from her today is pugnacious, meaning eager or quick to argue. The word pugnacious. You may want to use that. That's one of the benefits of listening to the debate. We'll now get to her opponent, who is going to be arguing for. Now, arguing against the motion is Ezekiel-Nobughe Ezekiel. Sotonye, once again, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
The age-old maxim that the apple does not fall very far from the tree remains valid in all life situations. In today's society, crime rates have surged, causing individuals to seek explanations and assign blame. Crimes committed by minors are a growing concern in society, prompting the question of who is responsible for the actions of these young individuals. Should parents really be blamed for crimes they are unaware of? Crimes since they were not present at? These are the questions I'm here to answer today. Ude the Amibu moderator, bench of dignified judges, co-debater, and the ever-attentive listeners. I'm Sultan from Federal Government College, Port Harcourt, speaking against the motion parents should not be blamed for crimes committed by their children. Here are my reasons. To start with, moral and parental responsibility for upbringing. Parents are the primary role models of their children. They have the moral duty to instill values, ethics, and discipline. When their children commit crimes, create a potential failure in their upbringing, and they set bad examples, the children will definitely follow in their footsteps. Many parents fail not because they're inadequate nor lack love for their children, but because they give ones that do not follow through. According to Dodge in 2006, children with parents who exhibit antisocial behavior are more likely to engage in criminal activities. A child's moral compass is calibrated at home, and parents who neglect their role in this process cannot be absolved of responsibilities when their children stray towards criminal activities. Secondly, supervision and guidance. Studies by Simon 2011 have shown a correlation between lack of parental supervision and delinquent behavior in children. Unmonitored access to external sources of influence such as peers, social media, and violent entertainment can easily distort a child's perception of acceptable behavior. Before a parenting can be called effective, it must involve setting boundaries, monitoring activities, and instilling a sense of responsibilities. Parents should be held accountable for failing to provide necessary support and guidance needed to detect criminal activities. Furthermore, inefficient parent-to-child communication. Open and effective communication between parents and children plays a significant role in shaping the child's values and decision-making abilities. Maintaining open lines of communication allows parents to understand their child's emotions, experiences, and potential vulnerabilities. Moreover, it enables parents to address any misguided beliefs or negative influences early on. Parental failure to establish meaningful communication channels can contribute to a child's increased susceptibility to criminal behavior. A study conducted by Smith and Thornberry in 1998 found that children who experienced positive parental involvement and witnessed law-abiding actions were significantly less likely to engage in criminal activities. If not the parents, then who do we blame for these communication breaches? More to this is the impact of neglectful and abusive parenting. Parents who neglect their children to abuse are undoubtedly complicit in their child's criminal actions. Neglect and abuse can result in long-lasting emotional and psychological trauma that can significantly affect the child's mental and behavioral development. Children raised in such environments often lack the social and emotional skills needed to navigate society, promoting delinquent tendencies. Thus, parents who fail to read a safe and nurturing environment must bear the responsibilities for their children's subsequent involvement in criminal activities. Holding parents accountable for their children's crimes can also be an effective strategy in preventing recidivism. When parents are made aware of the potential consequences they may face with their children's involvement in crime, it will motivate them to seek help, support, and guidance. The fear of taking responsibilities for their children's involvement in crime will make the parents punish them each time they err. Finally, social impact. When children commit crimes, it has impact for the society as a whole. Blaming parents helps emphasize the importance of raising responsible and law-abiding citizens, thereby contributing to a safer and more harmonious community. In conclusion, rehabilitation of parents and prevention strategies, rather than shifting blame, offer a more constructive approach to combating crimes with their children, ensuring a safer future for all members of the society. With this point, I'm so proud to defend. Thank you.
Just on the mark, 3 minutes, and that's what we have. Our opening salvos. You've heard the argument this morning. Now, the first topic this morning is this: parents should not be blamed for crimes committed by their children. We're going for the rebuttal, and we'll start with the final speaker, who is Sotonye. Stay tuned.
You are tuned in to 92.3.
Or Mamigbe, and we're here for the rebuttal. Now we're going to start with Sotonye. And Sotonye, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, once again, we have 3 minutes on the clock. Your time starts now.
Thank you very much. My name is Chidera from Government College, Port Harcourt, and I'm going to be refuting some of the presumed errors the opposition attempted to point out. So firstly, she talked about shifting the blame, and that the children know that their parents should take the blame if they commit crimes. Well, on my part, I think that if I know my parents are going to be blamed for the crime I committed, I'm not going to indulge in that crime anymore because I don't want them to feel bad or anything. Then you also said peer pressure. I totally disagree with you because parents have their duties to supervise and guide the child. And when, as I said earlier, if they monitor their child's activities, such as the peers, the social media, and the religion, it will increase the child's involvement in criminal activities. So parents should be blamed for crimes committed by their children. You also talked about parents are not the only stakeholders. Parents are not the only stakeholders. They're not the only ones that should be criticized for the crimes of the child. I'm not saying that parents should be the only ones criticized for the crimes of their child. There can be other factors, but the parents being the first agent of socialization among the 5, they should be held responsible since they are the closest to the children. You also talked about financial instability. Financial instability is not a guarantee for indulgence in criminal activities. You can be financially not stable, but you still not indulge in criminal activities. Those were most of the points that you made, and I would love to see how you reply. Thank you.
All right, just under 3 minutes, time done. Very good. It's time to get to hear the rebuttal of his challenger, and that is Rejoice. So I'm going to put the microphone on. Rejoice, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, once again, 3 minutes on the clock. It's time for you to rebut the statement by Sotonye. Your time starts now.
Haven't heard from my friend in argument. I would like to call your attention to something my opponent hasn't addressed yet. Crime. The intentional commission of an act usually deemed socially harmful and dangerous, and specifically defined, prohibited, and punishable under criminal law. Now, this is what I mean by the word intentional in this context. Anybody who is able to carry out a crime must have gotten to a stage where he or she knows what's bad and good, what's right and wrong, and is able to make decisions for him or herself, and is likely an advanced adult. And you don't necessarily need to be tender to be called someone's child. My opponent also said something about values and ethic. Do you also know that children have ignored their values, which include integrity, contentment, discipline, and respect? It is even said in the Bible, in Proverbs 22 verse 6. He said, train up a child in the way he should go, that when he is old, he will not depart from it. And what if the parents train up a child in the way he should go and they end up deviating from it? My opponent also said something about social influence in the society. Talking about this, what about the social influence in the society? How then why do you think it was necessary for the government to establish the juvenile prison, which was established so that children under the age of 18 should be kept there? Children who commit crime under the age of 18 should be kept there. And he said the parents should be accountable for the activities of their children. Children also have their own free will and act often in self-interest. He also said parents not feeling bad, that he will not commit crime so that his parents will not feel bad. The Bible also says in Galatians chapter 6, verse 5 and 7, it says, for every man shall bear a burden of his own. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sow, that he shall reap. Also in Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 20, it says, every soul that sins shall die. A son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither will the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. So, a wise man once said, it doesn't matter where you were born, who you choose to become is what matters. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That's that for our very first pair of competitors this morning. Quite the feisty one. Eric Rejoice Chidera went up against Ezekiel-Nobughe Ezekiel. Now we have 3 judges, like I mentioned earlier. They are outside, they're not here. They're paying attention, just like you, the listener. They will then give me their take on their performances, and then we'll make a final decision. Now it's the judge's decision, and it is going to be based on the individual. So if we have 2 or 3 judges in support of one particular candidate, that person wins. If in the event of a tie, we will then resort to the individual points that have been garnered, and we will make a decision. But for now, thank you very much, Eric Rejoice Chidera and Ezekiel-Nobughe Ezekiel. Thank you guys. You guys did a very good job. I saw your hand shaking earlier on, but now it's over. You can now breathe. Here we go. Okay, take a deep breath. All right, you guys did very well. I'm sure your classmates who are probably listening are probably cheering you on. So just go outside, take a warm, a cold seat, because I know it's hot in here now. The AC is going to be on. Relax, and you get to listen to the second pair. My name is Jude Omamegbe. We'll be back after the break with another pair and another conversation to be debated on. And it's not me. No, it is the future leaders. Or is it the leaders for now? Yes, the young ones are here. I beg to differ debate 2023 right here, 92.3 Nigeria Info. and offer your rebuttals? Do you have points? Are you ready to expect what they will come through for you? How great is your delivery? More importantly, how good is your intuition? When can you say aha moment for your debate? Well, you are about to experience all of this and then some right here on 92.3 Nigeria Infos. I beg to differ, because once again, we have some of the brightest and the best minds from River State in our studios. They are debating. They are begging your pardon. They are telling you what is what when it comes to these topics. My name is Jude. Welcome once again to I Beg to Differ. So we had Eric Rejoice Chidera and Ezekiel-Nobughe Ezekiel earlier on in the first round. And let's quickly get the result from the first battle for this morning. Now, 2 out of our 3 judges have scored Eric Rejoice Chidera as the winner of the first round. They based their decision on presentation style, rebuttal points, and rebuttal style. And both judges, 2 out of the 3 judges, I have to say, were in favor of, yes, I said it, Eric Rejoice Chidera. So Eric Rejoice Chidera is going to the next round of I Beg to Differ. A round of applause for her. So it's now time for a fresh pair. Individuals ready. They have their points in their hearts and their heads are ready to deliver these points. The question is, which one of them is going to go through? Abam Samuel is coming up against Emerald Handsome. The question today is, if agriculture should be mandatory, a mandatory part, I beg your pardon, of the curriculum for all students. Agriculture should be a mandatory part of the curriculum for all students. That's the question. The question now is, which one of them will make it to the next round? Let's find out. Microphones are on and good. Abanum Samuel, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. And once again, for the clarity, Emerald Handsome, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now you know the rules. 3 minutes each for each of you. We're going to have you start, that Samuel, supporting the motion, and then you will follow up. After that, the rebuttals, you, Emerald, will start with your rebuttal and then will second it with Samuel's deposition. Are you both clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we start off with you, Samuel. 3 minutes on the clock. Your time starts now.
Good day, the panel of judges, moderator and presenter, co-debater, audience listening and watching. My name is Abanum Samuel. I am here to propose the motion which states that agriculture should be a mandatory part of the curriculum for all students. First, let me define agriculture as the cultivation of the soil, growing crops, and raising livestock. Preparation of plant and animal products for people to utilize and the distribution to markets. My points are: 1. Agriculture has always been the basis of every society throughout history because it is for our survival. Our curriculum content must go beyond theories, helping students to become practically responsible, energetic, and self-sufficient adults. Hence, agriculture should be a mandatory part of the curriculum for all students. 2. Food wastage is a massive problem in Nigeria today, as millions of people don't have enough to eat, and yet many tons of food are wasted annually in the country. Now, the mandatory study of agriculture can lead to a responsible behavior and contribute to the
Calm down.
2. Food wastage is a massive problem in Nigeria as millions of people don't have enough to eat in the country, and yet many food are wasted annually in the country. The mandatory study of agriculture can lead to a responsible behavior and transform food industry and encourage conversation about sustainable living. 3. Health is wealth and knowledge is power. As the main source of food production, agriculture is also responsible for our health as individuals and groups. The mandatory study of agriculture can also help us to avoid unnecessary trending diet cultures.
4. The lack of knowledge on nutritional value leaves us vulnerable since we cannot go beyond marketing claims to conclude how healthy a product is. The mandatory study of agriculture would immensely contribute to the food industry and affect our total nutritional intake and balance. I believe the panel of judges, my opponent, and audience are convinced with this point that agriculture should be a mandatory part of the curriculum. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Just under 3 minutes, 2 minutes and 24 seconds, I beg your pardon, on the clock. It's time for us to get to hear from his opponent this morning. Miss Handsome is ready for her deposition. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready once again?
Sir.
All right, so we're going to give you the same time. 3 minutes on the clock. Your time starts now.
The impartial judges, moderators, sponsors, distinguished listeners, and my intelligent opponent, good morning. I am Emerald Handsome of Jesus Offspring Modern International School, Igrital. Opposing the sensitive motion, agriculture should be a mandatory part of the school curriculum for all students. They follow with attention drawn to the keywords agriculture, mandatory, curriculum, and students. The following exigent point houses the reason I beg to differ on the given motion. Threat to student liberty and preferences. Students have the right to choose their preferred subject combination after proper counsel. These choices depends on talent, skills, and interests of a student for optimal performance on the field of study. Students in most cases struggle with subjects they have little or no interest in, which reflects on their grades and performance. Cumbersome workload. Youth are going through depression and some having suicidal thoughts on a daily basis, with leading cause attributed to family, peer group, and academic pressure. With the battle to meet up with the required grade and the addition of subjects such as agriculture, which may have no relevance to the field of study, would only increase these societal plague. Curricular development. Mandating agriculture as a subject goes against the underlying motives for development of curriculum, as they are developed for the following reasons: providing students with clear understanding of their courses and schedules, and enabling them to be successful learners, confident individuals, responsible citizens, and effective contributors. The above mention indicates that curriculum are developed to improve individuals, not the other way around. Conventional teaching approach. A subject as agriculture should be considered with both visual and practical approach. Most schools in Nigeria do not go on field trips or involve in farming activities, some for security reasons, others for lack of adequate learning facilities. This has made the subject agriculture to be boring in recent times, as most students would put it, as it now mostly involves explanations and classwork. There is a popular saying that goes first: a man whose house is on fire does not go about chasing rats. This brings about my fifth point: essential job demand. According to the Punch newspaper of September 22, 2023, it made mention of the top 10 on-demand jobs in Nigeria, and it will interest you to know that agronomy is neither in the list, nor is agriculture a mandatory subject combination for the field of study mentioned. 6. Decline in job provision for agronomists. If agriculture becomes a mandatory subject in our school curriculum, it then calls for it to be practiced either in a large or small scale, which then leads to yet another challenge: overproduction and consumption, decline in price of agro-based products, and excessive inventory space. What then becomes the fate of an agronomist whose job has been made irrelevant, if not useless? My dear listeners, instead of making agriculture a mandatory subject, attention should be drawn to other subjects that promote science and technology. This helps develop a nation. I still remain Emerald Handsome. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. 2 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock. Both of them delivering their points pretty early. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to hear the rebuttal, and we'll get to start with, yes, you guessed it, Miss Emerald. Stay tuned right here, 92.3 Nigeria Info. I beg to differ 2023. We're here with the second pair. We're going to go for their rebuttals very shortly. But before we do that, a big thank you to our lead sponsor, Odibola Properties, and also associating for us, and obviously Wakis, who are providing for us, and obviously Wakis, who are providing the refreshments. It's been an absolute pleasure working with these groups, and you too can also be part of it. You need to listen and get to know what's going on, how well your teachers are doing with their students. But for now, let's return to the debate. It's time for us to have the rebuttals, and we'll go back. We start with Miss Handsome. Miss Handsome, can you hear us, please?
Yes, sir.
Once again, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
All right, so it's time for you to give us your rebuttal. Same time, 3 minutes on the clock. Your time starts now.
Greetings to the house once more. I remain Emerald Handsome, here in an attempt to rebut my opponent points. I vehemently affirm to the fact that it is not the study of agriculture that makes a nation excel agriculturally, but our interest to invest in agricultural sector and human resources. In an attempt to support my statement, consider closely the top 10 countries known for agriculture in the world, in place of China, US, Brazil, India, Russia, Germany, Japan, Turkey, Mexico, and so on. Amongst most things they share in common is the fact that agriculture is not a mandatory subject in their school curriculum as verified by Google. Secondly, instead of making agriculture a mandatory subject, why don't we try studying petroleum even in secondary schools, as countries like Kuwait happens to be one of the richest nations with a major source of income being petroleum, with agriculture accounting 1% of our economy and 8% of our GDP. Thirdly, comparing our past country's success would only negate the saying that the past is a place of reference, not residence, as education is in constant reformation. Furthermore, if we use agriculture to combat inflation, it then calls for yet another challenge: excessive production and waste of resources. Agriculture poses environmental threats, as most people fail to consider that agricultural activities also pose environmental threats. Consider lumbering, erosion, land degradation, hunting, bush burning, and washing away of chemicals to the aquatic body. Finally, there is a long list of careers not related to agriculture. What then should a subject as agriculture be doing in the life of a neurosurgeon, electrician, graphic designer, pilot, and so on? By making the subject agriculture mandatory for all students, it then loses its value for those who hold such prestigious studies as agric to high esteem. I still remain Emerald Handsome. Many thanks.
All right, 2 minutes on the clock, delivered nicely. Let's get to hear the rebuttal of her opponent this morning. All right, and don't forget, you can watch us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. Get the latest on the stories that we're following and also on this debate. I beg to differ returns, and we're getting to hear Abanum Samuel, and he's going to give his own rebuttal. Abanum, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Same time, 3 minutes on the clock. Your time starts now.
The panel of judges, moderator, and presenter, all protocols duly observed. I have listened to the point from my opponent, which has been needlessly repeated, yet fails to appreciate the importance and the study of agriculture beyond food production and consumption. Beyond food, we all enjoy the products of agriculture in the clothes we wear, provision of raw materials, protection of the ecosystem, economic development, and maintenance of social order. My opponent is a living testimony to that. I want to let my opponent know that studying agriculture optionally is not enough, as half knowledge is dangerous. Human knowledge is dynamic. For example, due to the heavy use of artificial fertilizer and pesticide, which is harmful to our health, the more knowledge right from the primary, secondary, and even tertiary levels can be acquired by the mandatory inclusion of agriculture in the school curriculum and open our minds to less harmful food production methods. If we don't study agriculture as a mandatory part of the curriculum, so if I show someone a plant, how the person know what the name of the plant is? If I show you a corn, you call it a guava. Let me conclude by saying that the mandatory inclusion of agriculture in the curriculum also extends more further and can teach children skills in team building, with students communicating effectively to ensure their collective project flourishes. Thanks.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very similar to his opponent. Just under 2 minutes on the clock. 2 minutes and about 5 seconds to deliver his rebuttal. Now, both of you have done very well. I'm pleased that you're all comfortable. Before you stand, let me get to talk to both of you very quickly. Now, let's start with you, Emerald Handsome. Right. So, who got to prep you for today's debate?
It's my teacher.
Your teacher did?
Yes,
okay, all right. And your teacher is here with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. We'll get to speak to them off the microphone. And you, someone?
Also my teacher, sir.
Your teacher, okay. Did your parents tell you should say this? Are they excited that you're here? Your parents?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is any of them here with you?
No, sir.
Okay, so they are all at work.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully they are listening.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
so we hope that your own students, your fellow classmates will be listening, and then we'll get to find out the results shortly. You'll be told the results are outside, so you'll just keep listening, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right, so you can leave. Thank you very much for coming. Wow, so agriculture, compulsory or not? Well, you decide. They have given their points. It's now time for us to get to the judges who will make up their minds, and I'll get to tell you in about, 3 or so minutes. Stay tuned right here, 92.3 Nigeria Info. Again, these students are judged based on presentation points, presentation style, rebuttal points, and rebuttal style. Now, during the first round, Rejoice got 2 votes from the judges. 2 out of 3 judges were in favor of Rejoice. Now, let's find out which one of the 2 of Emerald and Samuel is going to go on to the next round. Now, I have with me, those of you who are probably watching online, I have with me the results. They've been delivered to me right here. And straight off the bat, all three judges are in favor of Emerald Handsome. All three judges, and they scored her very well. So let's see. One of our judges, Thomas, gives 35 points to Emerald. Carl Orakwe gives 36 points to Emerald Handsome. And also, Ikechi Wogu gives 22 points to Emerald Handsome. So, unanimous decision in this round. Congratulations to Emerald and indeed to her school, because I'm very sure her and her classmates are probably ecstatic. All right, so great job. Emerald has gotten 3 votes. She's going to go on to the next round. Tomorrow, we have another pair, 2 pairs joining us tomorrow for another round of debates right here, 92.3 Nigeria Info. I beg to differ. All right, so you want to be part? Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, you have to wait till next week. I've seen some messages asking that they want to join. Entries have been closed for a while, and so these are the ones that are here. So before we leave, a big thank you to our lead sponsor. That's Odibola Properties. Once again, Seymour Luxury Homes also supporting us, being part of this venture. Seam Forest and Wakis. These are the sponsors of this event this year. Once again, keep tuning in to 92.3 Nigeria Info. You are going to get the very best content. After the news, which comes up away in just about 10 minutes, the sunny side of conversations will start. But please, what say you? What did you make of the guests and the students that we had this morning? So go on to social media where you have the feed. Just drop your comments. Let me get to read them as well. What do you think of the debate so far and the students that have come through? Do you wish you were one of them? Well, next year, hopefully, we'll probably get someone like you here in the studio. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can bank on it that you all will be here once again from 11 a.m. set to Sparrowbell to enjoy another debate, another round of I Beg to Differ. I'm banking on it.
Life is sweet when the sun out.